obviously the big news for the week was the Baker trade. I apologize it's taking us so long to get you our thoughts. Here's the deal, guys, is we can only get into the studio like one day a week because I have a kid and a job, and Justin has 2 kids and a job, and John has to sleep 50 hours a week, and Josh has other things going on. So unless, you guys want, everybody's going to join the dog pack, this isn't our full-time jobs yet. So we have to fit it in when we can. So we apologize for the delay, but we're here now. And if you guys want us to be a full-time job, donate. But the trade went through to the Carolina Panthers for a conditional 5th-round pick. We're paying $10.5 million. The Panthers are paying $5 million, and Baker took a $3 million pay cut that he can earn back in incentives. I would assume based on playing time and other metrics this season. So I guess the first thing I wanted to hit is, how do you think the Browns did in the trade?
Another Andrew Berry masterpiece, I think.
So at first thought, I'm like, it's a little disappointing, because it's a 5th-round pick, but there's literally no market for the guy. So the fact that we got anything at all and we didn't have to cut him or release him, I know what you're saying. It's just, I think it's a little heartbreaking that he was a #1 overall pick and we're getting back a 5th, but it's a 5th-round pick that we wouldn't have gotten if we had to cut or release him. And he wasn't doing anything for us.
Yeah.
The end game was written. We already knew what was going to happen, regardless of what everybody thought last week, where they were saying, well, Baker's obviously going to start when Deshaun Watson gets suspended for the season. Duh. No, the writing was already on the wall there. We already knew what was going to happen there. At least I thought we did.
No, we all said he was never going to play another snap, and there's no way that was going to happen. But correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it it's a 5th-round pick that can turn into a 4th if he plays 70% of this offensive snaps?
I think so.
Isn't that what it is?
Yep.
Okay. And then the fact that we only ended up paying $5 million.
10.5. The Panthers.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so 10.5. Well, I guess I take back my comment.
Well, hey, no, look. So it's
about the money.
It's a 50% of what we could have paid him.
Right.
Basically.
Because we were talking about paying the majority of it.
Yeah.
Or all of it.
If we cut him or release him, we still have to pay that money. Because, it was...
What'd you think, John? How do you think we did?
I thought it was going to be a 3rd-round pick is what I was telling everybody. So
I think you were a little bit crazy for saying that.
Yeah, I thought we could get a 3rd for him, probably a late 3rd, but I think it was a fine trade. The priority became getting him out of Cleveland, getting him out of sports, like the media, the Cleveland media, and just we don't really want people talking about him. Local media doesn't need to be talking Baker Mayfield right before the season starts, so we want to be talking Deshaun Watson, other things.
I agree. I liked how you said it. The priority became less about what we could get for him and more about just get him out of here. I think the fact that all the Browns haters were saying that we were going to have to cut him because Andrew Berry screwed his market and Andrew Berry sucks and we're going to have to cut him and pay his whole salary, blah, blah, blah. Well, Andrew Berry just waited and waited and waited. And, yeah, we had to still pay some of his money, but at the end of the day, we created more cap space now. We freed up a roster spot, and we got more draft capital. That if Baker's more than likely going to play 70% of the snaps. I'd be shocked if he doesn't play 70%. So it's probably going to be a 4th-round draft pick. So to me, like you said, it's another home run. Is it disappointing because he's a former first-round draft pick? Yes. Yeah. But even if we don't get Deshaun Watson, we weren't getting a ton for Baker. He played himself out of a market last year. Mm-hmm. And then with the reports that were coming out with that Athletic article about the team, the players thought he was immature and hard to coach and all that kind of stuff, it's just not a good look. I don't want to bash the guy. I actually posted on our Twitter. My point, I think Baker's legacy in Cleveland is he might not have been the future, but there's no denying that he helped stabilize a position that had no stability for like 30 years.
Absolutely agree.
You know what I mean? So I might not have thought he was that good or he was going to take us to where we wanted to go, but what he allowed the Browns to do was we didn't have to draft a quarterback for 4 years in a row. We didn't have to try to sign a quarterback 4 years in a row. We were able to build up the rest of the roster around him. We went from arguably the least talented roster maybe the NFL's ever seen to a top 6 roster according to the league this year. So I just think as the rest of the team became talented around Baker, it became glaringly obvious he was the weak link.
That's
But
a very fair assessment.
that being said, there's no denying he helped stabilize the spot to let the Browns do something that every year we were just trying to pick another quarterback.
Every year, yeah.
So
we actually got to the point where a top 5 quarterback who wants to play in a dome, actually chose to come to Cleveland and play on the lake.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And you're right. Baker helped us get to that point. I don't think we're going to win a Super Bowl with him, and I think that's why we had to get rid of him. But, yeah, for 4 years, he played a huge role in changing the culture and turning the franchise from a dumpster fire to a team that's at least relevant.
And there was like some really, really fun moments in there. Like there was some games where, for me, I'm a big believer that Cleveland sports low key is cursed. I grew up believing that the curse was real. Everything that could happen to Cleveland sports did. So to see like the Jets game, like where he comes out, and then seeing the videos like going viral, people like thousands of people chanting Baker Mayfield as they're walking out. And even like I think one of the best ones was that Cincinnati game. Like forever, that's a kind of opportunity and moment that we literally would have messed that up. And to see him come through clutch and throw a touchdown pass and in a great game, like the whole game was insane. But then like to end it like that, I thought, man, holy crap, this is it. We're making the turn. Here we go.
I was on the plane on the way to my honeymoon in that Bengals game, and I'm just like begging the pilot to just wait. I'm like, please, just don't take off yet. Don't take off yet. Not actually, but I was mentally telling him. And then he threw the touchdown pass to DPJ, and I'm losing my crap on this plane.
You were close.
People are just looking at me, and I was like, okay, cool, I can turn my phone off now. But and I was at the Jets game. So was John. Right. Yep. I was right above the Jets tunnel, and I actually had a friend from Greece with me who's been to soccer games and that kind of stuff, and he was like, this is insane. Well, I've been to Ohio State. I rushed the field at Ohio State when they beat Iowa in 2009 for the Big Ten championship. I've been to Ohio State Big Ten championship in Indianapolis. I've been to World Series watch parties, Cavs playoff games. That Jets game is still the most electric atmosphere I've ever been at in my entire life.
For sure.
What, week 3 Thursday Night Football?
Yep. I've never felt anything like it. Leaving the stadium, you would have thought we won the Super Bowl. I still have videos of, like Justin said, people chanting Baker Mayfield, walking under the bridge up the street. So it sucks that it went the way it did, but at the same time, like I had to be willing to sit back and be like, yeah, that was really cool, but at the end of the day, I still want to win a Super Bowl.
And I think as Browns fans, we were so desperate for a starting quarterback, for a franchise quarterback, that any moments of success or flashes that we hung to him. And there's still people that obviously do. I mean, you look at Twitter and social media, and people are. You would have thought that we got rid of Brett Favre, but I don't know. It's one of those things where. I wish him luck. I won't be rooting for him. We talked about this a little bit. There's Browns fans that say, hey, week 1, I'm rooting for Carolina, but after that, I'm back on board. Hell with that.
Off.
Yeah, we're good. Off. We don't need you then. Because if that's how we're doing it, I'm cool. I don't, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. If you're that big of a fan of a guy, hey, go follow him.
Yep. Go with him.
Yeah. What road to a Super Bowl starts with your team hopefully losing week 1?
Right.
0-1 start.
I just don't understand how you root against your team in any situation.
No,
period.
We said the nice things. Now that's, I mean, come on. So how do you guys think he'll do in Carolina?
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I think my opinion is a little different than you guys.
Yes.
I think Baker Mayfield starts week 1. I think he's head and shoulders better than Sam Darnold. I know your guys' arguments, which you can give them after I'm done here, but I just don't think they bring in Baker Mayfield to roll Sam Darnold. I mean, we saw Sam Darnold last year.
But look at the money. Look at the money.
The money didn't matter last year. They still brought in Cam Newton to try to do something on the field.
They're paying Baker Mayfield backup money.
I don't think
they're paying him backup money. Like I was, listening to some other sports shows, and they're like, 9 times out of 10 in the NFL, the person who makes more money is the person who's going to play. It doesn't matter who's better. If it's close, the person who makes more money is going to play. I just think the deck stacked against Baker for week 1. I think like I said, I think he ends up playing 70% of the snaps this year, but I think Darnold starts week 1, 2, maybe 3, and then when he sucks, Baker takes over because Darnold knows the system.
Yep.
He knows the coaches. He knows the verbiage. He knows the players. He's been at the camps. And let's be honest, in shorts and a T-shirt, Sam Darnold can stack up against Baker Mayfield. He's bigger, stronger, more athletic, can throw the ball all over the field. It's going to be, in my opinion, Sam Darnold's job to lose, and Baker's got to try to win it in a month.
My only argument would be he knew the system and the players and the verbiage and the coaches last year, and he still couldn't stay on the field.
I mean, kind of. It was his first year.
But, I mean, he was just – are you arguing that Sam Darnold looked good last year? Okay.
No.
I'm not.
I'm just clarifying.
I'm saying in camp, mano a mano against each other, he can make all the throws Baker can make. Both their problems mental. It's not physical. So in practice, they're both going to look good. And if Sam Darnold looks as good or close to as good as Baker, he's going to play because he's making $18 million, and they're only paying Baker $5 million. That's the way I look at it.
I agree. I would be extremely, extremely shocked if week 1 Baker Mayfield was the starting quarterback at Carolina. Based on pretty much everything you said, same thing. Darnold knows the system. He's familiar, whether he was good in the system or not. And here's the thing is, for Matt Rule, whoever you tie your wagon to, you better be sure about it, because I think his job is absolutely on the line this year.
Well, that's why we said Carolina made the most sense for Baker, or to go get Baker, because their quarterback situation was the worst.
Look at their QB room, bro. They got a lot of money tied up in QBs, and it's Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, P.J. Walker, and Matt Corral.
Who was a third-round pick.
There's no 100% surefire answers in that room.
No, there's not.
That's rough.
And to
it's
anybody
like how we used to be.
Go ahead. Anybody that says, "Oh man, week 1 Baker's going to shred the Browns defense,"
we talked about that.
Man, I saw a picture earlier, and it said, "Man, can't wait for week 1 when Baker Mayfield finally throws to some Browns players." And I was like, "Ugh."
Who has more receptions, Denzel Ward or DJ Moore?
So I'm going to say DJ Moore, but you know.
So who has a better chance to start week 1, Deshaun or Baker?
A better chance, Deshaun. I still think it's 0, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, I guess I'll go on the other side. I'll say Baker. I think of those two, both low probability. I think Deshaun's going to get some type of suspension. I really would love to if it was 0, just based on everything that we've heard about the reports and everything that are coming out about the trial. But I also don't think that like we've said, I'm not sure Baker starts. He's got to go to camp and light it up and look way, way better than anybody and put his foot down and put his mind into the playbook. And I'm not sure that's going to happen.
So you're saying we're all getting hyped up fan-wise for the Baker versus the Browns.
It could be Jacoby Brissett versus Sam Darnold. Yeah.
Not so exciting.
Even though I don't think Baker starts, I'm going to say I give him a better chance to start week 1 than Deshaun. Even though I want it to be 0 games, there's too many unknown variables for Deshaun. I don't know what Sue Robinson's thinking. I don't know how she's analyzing this. I don't know if the NFL's paid her off. You know what I mean? There's too much. There's too much I don't know about that situation that is out of just the realm of football. As far as on the field stuff, Baker, even though I think it's an uphill battle, his biggest obstacle is Sam Darnold. So, if he comes in and lights it up, that's not a huge obstacle. So, even though I think, I think there's a real chance it could end up being Jacoby Brissett versus Sam Darnold week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, all Baker has to do in the preseason is look really good, and he's got a shot at starting. Deshaun Watson has to not get suspended at all, even for 1 game. I think he's going to get a small suspension personally. I don't want him to. But I think he's going to. I don't necessarily think evidence even matters at this point. The media's kind of been preconditioning everybody to expect a suspension so we don't get too mad when it happens. They've been saying 1 year, at least 1 year, indefinite suspension. So when he gets 6 games, we're not that mad that he didn't get a full year, and everybody else is like, well, at least he got something. A serial rapist deserved to get a lifetime ban, but we'll settle for 8 games, whatever.
We joke because people are calling him a rapist, and he's never been accused of rape.
Not even on the table.
Not once.
Correct. So last thing we'll talk about this, which we just touched on it a little bit. Say Baker does play week 1. How does he fare against the Browns?
2 picks. I'm gonna say 220 yards, 50% completion rate, and 2 picks.
One thing we do know about Baker, when he gets amped up, he throws it a little high. Lets it sail a little bit on him. So, and our defense watched him for 4 years. These guys know.
How healthy is he going to be week 1? Like, is he ready to go into camp and compete for this job?
I mean, he passed the physical.
Yeah, but even hurt people can pass the physical, like, because if they know about the injury, they're like, well, he's good except for this guy here.
I saw that he was completely healthy.
I think that since it was the left shoulder, I don't think, even if it's not 100%, it's going to be as big a deal as if it was the right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he could still play last year. It wasn't good.
Put a sling on it, man. He'll be fine. Send him out there.
I think
he'll be great.
I think it could go one of 2 ways. It's going to be like one of these vintage Baker games where he's got the world's biggest chip on his shoulder and he comes out and he throws it around. He does well and he stares at Kevin Stefanski on the sideline and everybody's like, see, you guys shouldn't have got rid of him, blah, blah, blah. Or the way I think it's more likely going to go, he sacked 5 to 7 times, throws 2 picks, and we completely obliterate him. Which is the way I think it's going to go.
With Jacoby Brissett?
I think he's going to be entirely average. I think he's going to be in the middle of those 2 scenarios.
I just think we've seen Baker before. We've seen his poor pocket presence and that kind of thing, and he's going to have Myles Garrett bearing down on him. I mean, their line's not good. It's supposedly improved if their rookies play well. They drafted a tackle, right?
I believe so, yeah.
A left tackle. So what? It's rookie left tackle against Myles Garrett. I'm going to take Myles Garrett in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Or Clowney.
Yeah, or Clowney. I don't see it going week 1.
I don't either. I mean, and just like we said, the Panthers just aren't a great team overall.
We've seen Baker literally. You can people like the people who are huge Baker fans and not huge Baker fans. There's no denying that over the 4-year course of his career, he's like the definition of average. His 500 win percentage, all of his stats, it literally just says average. So, and that was with a top roster around him for the last 2 years.
Yeah, because as high as his highs are, his lows are just as low.
Yes.
And that averages out right in the middle.
You can make the argument he never really played on a terrible, terrible team in his professional career. His rookie year is probably his worst team, and that roster's better than the team he's about to go play for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say so.
You know what I mean? He's going from the 6th ranked roster to what, 26th, 27th ranked roster? People can tell me about how he's got some pieces, blah. He ain't got that much, bro. They're ranked 27th. So you can tell me he's got some okay pieces, but
I see CMC and DJ Moore and everybody.
We had pretty decent pieces ourselves.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing with scrubs. No. I will say having CMC is nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I mean, what does he offer that the combo of Chubb and Hunt can't give you?
So we'll see how that goes. That's, again, we didn't want to bash on I guess before we move on, what do you guys think of this athletic report where?
Oh, yes. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, before we moved on. So the Athletic put out this report about how the players in the locker room, he was dividing. I guess a lot of the defense thought he cost him a playoff spot. There's this report coming out that the Browns sent him the game plan for the Packers game.
The Christmas game.
The Christmas game because he was at home with COVID, and then turns out they found out he played 40 hours of Halo that week leading up to the game, and then he comes out. I mean, it was atrocious.
It was probably the worst game I've ever seen him play. Did he ever have a worse game than that Christmas Day game last year?
I think of the Texans game but even then, that was a worse game. There's 4 picks.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
And we were still in it.
Yeah.
I know, it's crazy.
And so that's not a good look. And I've seen even some really hardcore Baker defenders online say it's not good. It's not a good look for Baker that this is now his 4th coach he's had problems with. You go back to college, he had problems with Kingsbury, then he had problems with Hugh, then he had problems with Freddie, and now he had problems with Stefanski. I mean, at some point, you got to look at it and be like, what's the common denominator?
What did you want to talk about, the Stefanski situation and the meeting and all that?
Yeah. Go. So, you were the one who read it. Yeah.
So I read the article, and basically they said, I can't remember exactly after which game, but Kevin Stefanski didn't show up for a film session. And Baker was very, very critical. And it turned out that he went and Stefanski met with Miles, because Miles called out the entire coaching staff, in the media. So he sat him down, and he's talking to him. Well, Baker said, hey, you have to be here at these film sessions. And it became, after that, Stefanski was at every film session, and he spotlighted every mistake that Baker Mayfield made. And was, I guess, brutal about it. Where he was like, okay, if you don't want me to meet these, miss these sessions, I'm going to point out. I'll be here, and I'm going to point out every mistake that you make.
Turns out there's a lot.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Be careful what you wish for, dude.
Yeah, and that's one thing I said is, Stefanski was doing he's a head coach. He's got duties around the entire team, not just offensive film sessions or whatever. I mean, you got a player who's saying something in the media that you don't want being said. You got to address that. He's being a leader. He's doing his job.
Yeah,
and then you got the quarterback calling you out for it. I can understand Stefanski being pretty upset about that.
I just think Stefanski and Barry were done with him a long time ago. I think even if we didn't get Watson, he wasn't the quarterback.
He wasn't their guy either.
Correct. To me, it's super funny. I mean, it's super funny that he was just like, fine, okay, I'm here. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that?
Double clutch.
Why'd you do this? Why,
he's open. There's an open guy.
He's like, I'm going to make this guy cry. And to me, it says, who are you to call out your head coach?
Right.
Who are you? You're a 500 NFL quarterback. You think you can call out your head coach? I've heard Panthers fans say him and Matt Rule are not going to get along. So we'll see how that goes. It could be 5 for 5. So, we'll see how that goes. That was our thoughts on the Baker trade. Sorry it took so long to get to you, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it.
What's going on, Browns fans? The action never ends at DraftKings Sportsbook, especially this summer. With tons of ways to bet on all your favorite sports, you can fuel your fandom and feel the heat of the season like never before. Plus, right now, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving new customers a risk-free bet up to $1,000. It's a lot of dough. That's right. Make your first bet up to $1,000, and if it doesn't win, you'll get another shot to cash in. You can throw down on all the major action on baseball, golf, MMA, and more. Plus, with same-game parlays, spreads, money lines, over-unders, and props, your betting options never feel endless. Best of all, DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TPPN. Make your first deposit and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code TPPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Look forward to betting with you soon, and minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. God bless.